Welcome to the podcast. I hope you survived the experience. I'm Pete.
I'm Mike.
And today we are here with. So last week we did everything you didn't know about Wolverine. The week before that we did a comic book about Charles Xavier's origin with some Storm thrown in there. And today we are back to the Adventuring Mutants.
So I've always been amused by the cover of X-Men 118 because it says side by side with Sunfire, and Sunfire is getting hit by a laser blast on the cover, so he's really not side by side with anybody.
But Mike, who's Sunfire?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Pete. Sunfire appeared in X-Men in like the I think it was 64. Mm-hmm. And he was a one-off villain that was taught to hate America. He's Japanese. Of course, because he is Japanese, his power is radiation. And
tasteful.
Yep. Like I said, previous to our adventures in Canada, most of Marvel, when they went outside the United States, they either made up a place or they did the most stereotypical thing possible. Like Sunfire's mother was exposed to nuclear radiation from Hiroshima, and his uncle convinced him that the Americans were awful people.
Mm-hmm.
And Sunfire's dad, though, was a diplomat trying to have a good relationship with America, and they kind of came into conflict with the X-Men. Sunfire beat the X-Men pretty handily, twice, and then was defeated by morality, and ended up, after his father was killed in the crossfire, saying, you know what, maybe death to America is not the right move for me. And then...
There's more.
There's more. Everybody may know that Giant Size X-Men #1 was when the title was relaunched and featured the first appearances of Colossus, Nightcrawler, Storm, and also the first appearance of Illyana Rasputin, which I know.
Yes.
But
I love Illyana. We will spend many hours talking about her in the future.
But Professor Xavier also reached out to two people who had been villains earlier in the run, Banshee and Sunfire, in order to convince them to help out. And they did both help out, although Sunfire still had a lot of anti-American feelings.
They weren't devils. They were he just didn't care for us.
So he helped the X-Men escape Krakoa, and then when they all got back, Xavier said, what am I going to do with so many X-Men? I have all the originals, I have these new guys, and Sunfire's like, I'm going to stop you right there. I'm not joining the X-Men. I don't know how you felt that I might be. I agreed to help you on one specific thing, but I'm Japanese, I want to be in Japan, and I don't want anything to do with you Americans while I'm over in Japan doing Japanese things.
Mm-hmm. Sunfire would go on to join and quit the X-Men a lot.
Usually within 2 issues of each other. Although also, he has one of the best Age of Apocalypse glow-ups of any character.
Yes, he does. The orange body with the black lines and the white Imperial flag mask.
Yeah, it's sweet.
It's nice.
So
one of the things I love about Starfire is he is one of those characters who is just an unrepentant jerk. He's a good guy, but he's a jerk.
Yep, and he's also very much like, I'm only going to address things that are important to me, and I'm going to tolerate other people only in as much as it benefits me and Japan in the end.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, he has a lot in common with Petro Maximov and the Bouvier twins. Does he have a twin sister? That would explain a lot.
Well, he has a cousin who we're going to meet in this issue.
Okay, foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we cut to the X-Men, in some very nice matching turtlenecks, aside from Nightcrawler.
I'm sure that the secret Japanese mission had extra green turtlenecks in a variety of sizes, because they fit Colossus and
Slim Summers.
Yeah, Wolverine, meanwhile, is in a wife beater shirt.
Of course.
Because why wouldn't he be? He's Wolverine.
Oh god, I do want to. I do think it's interesting. This is the first time in the run we've covered that we've seen Nightcrawler interacting with civilians. I mean, he's interacting with people in the Savage Land who are used to dinosaur men. But this is the first time, Nightcrawler's out there, pointy ears, green, blue skin, and nobody seems really all that impressed.
I mean, they're Japanese people on a secret mission.
True.
2-year secret mission, by the way, it says here.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to say about the splash page is it features a famous comic trope of everybody stare to the right side of the frame.
Yes.
And the reason why this is a common comic trope, and it's very frequently on covers, is that our comics are psychology, and every product that anyone sells has psychology to it.
Oh, the right is forward to the future,
and it also is towards the place where you turn the page.
Ah, I did not know that. I legitimately did not know that.
So you follow their gaze, and you want to flip the page.
That's really cool, actually.
Which makes you, like, once you pick it up, then you're kind of done.
And then you see a splash page of Tokyo going to hell.
We see Mount Fuji in the background, but we see a massive firestorm, and Colossus asks Storm if she could do anything, and she's like,
nope. Nope.
And Wolverine theorizes it might be an earthquake.
It would make sense.
But I love this page. I love the artistry of it. And again, I say 99 times out of 100, I'm going for my original issue over the.
I mean, 100%. The colors are slightly more muted. They're deep. They're richer. I mean, we're looking at the Epic Collection on an LCD monitor. It's really nice, but I think it lacks a lot of the warmth and the saturation and the intimacy of the printed version.
So Cyclops asks the captain, "Can you take us ashore?" And he's like, "No, the harbor is messed up, and he needs a ship to evacuate refugees." So Cyclops sends Nightcrawler to teleport over to try to check out if there's a safe landing zone.
I just want to point out in this issue, we see Kurt teleport multiple times, and it is implied that he teleports even more.
Yeah, he's talking about that he's actually working on it, and so it's going like better. He's no longer teleporting exactly once every issue.
Yep, I mean that's probably. I mean that's what. I mean it's impossible to tell from the scale from the comic book, but we're guessing that's what a half mile, a mile away.
Yeah, it seems something like that.
Yeah.
And so then Storm and Banshee fly the rest of the X-Men over there. And Nightcrawler says the firestorm's moving, so we gotta get out of here.
Yeah, we gotta. Yeah, let's not get roasted. But the X-Men do take time to pull off their cool sweaters to reveal their costumes underneath.
Storm says that she's summoned a wind to help keep the fire contained, and Cyclops says we're gonna head to see Shiro Yoshida's. Sometimes he is Yoshida, and sometimes he is Yashida. Because Marvel Comics is known to be inconsistent with names
of minor characters, definitely. I just want to point out, I love that Cyclops' first thought here is, hey, that guy who told us to not let the door hit us where the good Lord split us, let's go ask him for help.
Well, his country is in the middle of what seems like a really bad situation. We're going to go to Japan's national hero and say...
True, good point.
Hey, could you ignore the other things going on and help us leave?
Your capital city is literally burning down. But if you could make a phone call for us.
And Storm again reflects on this being similar to when she was orphaned by a plane falling on her house.
Yep. Every child's face is a mirror. Every one of these children is being brain punched by a guy in a hat. I'm sorry. I'm still kind of hung up on the fact that Charles Xavier just goes around brain punching children.
I mean, what we learn later about Charles Xavier makes it sound like that's not.
Yeah, that's the least. That's a warm up.
Yeah. So
Okay.
all of the
God, that is gorgeous. Sorry.
Pete is jealous of my original copy of X-Men 118 here.
There is a group shot where they're looking out. They're looking over the burning city. It is gorgeous in the digital version. It is sublime in the printed.
Yeah, and it's partly because the printed version, the lines aren't as harsh, and so it all feels like you are in a smoky area. And Banshee asked a question that we're all wondering, where he's like, this may sound kind of macabre, but I wonder what happened to people. And Wolverine is like, oh, well, it says that almost everyone was evacuated. And there was an early warning of the big quake. And Cyclops is like, well, yeah, that doesn't make sense. And Wolverine's like, hey, I just know what I read in the newspaper. Cyclops is like, you read Japanese? Wolverine's, yep. And Cyclops says, I didn't know. And he's like, oh, you never asked.
And you're not my real dad.
Yeah, typical Wolverine, like, showing off that he knows or can do something. And then, like, when someone, like, asks him, hey, that's kind of cool, he's like...
I am going to withhold information that, while not critical, is very useful until it becomes critical.
And Cyclops, for his part, responds to this by basically saying, like, yep, kind of my fault for trying to start a conversation with Wolverine.
Yeah. Whenever people say that, you know, my niece does that on occasion. It's like, well, honey, am I just supposed to ask you can you paint? Can you ride a horse? Can you... You know, if you don't ask the specific question, you don't get to know that your tiny Canadian soldier can speak Japanese.
So now we have a flash to, interestingly enough, the Shi'ar, who are bird people, fly on ships that look like insects. And I've always tried to figure out what the psychology of this was, but I have always failed. So Xavier is leaving the Earth, making out with his space bride, and Claremont did say very specifically that he wanted to remove Professor X because he was too good.
He was too moral of a man.
And that without him, the X-Men are going to have to fend for themselves.
I do want to point out one more time, and I promise this is my last time. The man with the mutant locating device did not at no point said, you know what? What the heck? They might be alive.
He decided to take Jean Grey's word for it. He said, if anybody knows about death,
well,
it's Jean Grey.
It's not, but she will learn.
Well, she already died a couple of times.
Has she by now?
She became Phoenix by dying.
Oh, true. Oh, yes, true. And she did die in Annie's mind, in her neighbor's mind.
And she also died for a second in the Macron crystal. And
Jesus, Jean, stop dying.
She will not. She will never stop.
And so the X-Men are just in their cool, in their cool clothes. You know, the 7-foot tall Russian and the 5-foot tall Canadian, and the guy and the bright blue guy and the guy with bright orange hair. Just slink around Tokyo like ninjas.
And also the black woman, which is not very common, with white hair.
Yeah, with blue and sharp and giant blue eyes.
Yep. So, they say there's a lot of people there at Shiro Yashida's house. Yoshida.
6, 7. There's more than a half dozen people there.
And so, Kurt points out that there are government limousines in there. It must be important. Meetings. Scott's like, yeah, they're pretty important people. And he's like, I know what we should do when we see the person we want to talk to is meeting with top government officials. We will sneak in just to be like, what's up? Surely we are more important than the government of your country coming to help you, ask you for your help.
Okay, people, nobody really seems to know who we are. Let's put on our costumes and storm the house of the most important family in Japan. Nothing could go wrong.
I mean, Cyclops is usually pretty tactically correct, but at this point, I think he is high on his own supply and thinks that despite Shiro telling them basically to stick it,
Yeah.
that he thinks that he can just like walk up and be like, "Hey, sorry about your country, man, but I need to borrow your phone."
Mike, we're trapped in New York. Let's go burst down the Rockefeller's door. I'm sure that they'll let some randos make a call.
Yeah. I mean, I love the X-Men, but a subset of loving the X-Men is thinking that Cyclops does some really stupid things.
And he's very proud of them. Listen, we confuse the guards into letting us into the property, so that they can call the cops.
And of course, they get found out despite Storm doing a cool fog to try to stop. And here comes Shiro, Sunfire.
I love it. He's like, listen, Shiro, we're the X-Men. You know us. We used to hang out. He basically says, you know what? I remember the X-Men being cooler, so you can't be the X-Men.
I also like that when Sunfire announces who he is, he like gets a logo on his name.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be pretty full of yourself in order to be able to state your name with a logo.
Yep, it's written bold red letters. It's got a flame effect on it. This is Deadpool level branding.
Yep. And yeah, he's like, I don't know who you guys are. The X-Men don't like sneak around and like.
I love him. He is in the tradition of Quicksilver and North Star, and from time to time Namor. He's fundamentally a good person, but he will make you feel like a loser the entire time.
Yep. And so Misty Knight
is just there.
Tells him that the Prime Minister says leave him be, and Sunfire isn't very happy about this. And Cyclops is like, the only thing I know about this person is that's Jean's roommate. What?
Why is my ex-girlfriend? Why is my
dead
girlfriend's roommate here? And do we ever get an explanation for why there's a New York City cop just chilling with the Prime Minister?
So not in this issue, and I don't think in the next issue either. However, in Power Man and Iron Fist, where Misty Knight and Colleen Wing are frequent appearing characters and that Chris Claremont had a hand in, they got sent to Japan to deal with a person that we're going to run into later, so I'm going to wait on that part of it.
Foreshadowing.
But Luke Cage said, I'm not going to Japan. I've got enough stuff to do here.
Yeah.
And Iron Fist stayed with him, and Colleen Wing and Misty Knight said, all right, losers, we're going to Japan. Hop in, losers, we're going to Japan.
And then at some point, Logan gets between Shiro, like flashbanging them, and everyone's standing around. The next time we see the X, a panel later, Cyclops is like, Wolverine's not here. What the heck? At no point do we see him sneak off. It's just, the next time we see them, he's not in the room.
And Cyclops is only upset about this because he recently learned that Wolverine knows Japanese, and he wanted Wolverine around in order to translate what people were yelling about. And what they use in here is a common comic trope of showing that the people are speaking another language by framing it with like the greater than and less than signs.
Yep. And we learned that, and Cyclops was just like, well, I feel like a punk just standing here watching people argue in Japanese, and neither I nor any of my multinational team of X-Men speak Japanese, except for the guy
who isn't here.
Yeah. And we learned that Colleen Wing is the niece of the Prime Minister.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting subplot there. I like how Sunfire refers to literally everybody who is female as woman. Mind your place, woman.
He'll save your life, but he will. He will make you question things.
Meanwhile, Colleen Wing takes one look at Cyclops and is like, "Hey."
Well, I like that. First, she effectively tells Sunfire to go shove it.
Yep.
She's like, "Listen, I am a samurai. I know my flaws, unlike you. So, we're gonna work with the people who we're gonna work with the established team of superheroes." And yes, as Mike says, we then get the lustiest face I have seen John Byrne draw, and Colin going, "Ooh, that's Scott Summers." Yes.
Meanwhile, Scott Summers is like,
"I want a phone. Can I get a phone?"
I just came here asking to make a phone call. I don't want to get involved in your yelling things. It was kind of amusing watching Sunfire get yelled at by people. But I'm going to go find a phone. And he runs into a phone with Misty Knight, who is talking to Iron Fist.
Who announces himself as Iron Fist, who works with Power Man, not me and Luke are busy. Not Luke and I are busy. I'm sorry, Colleen, but Power Man and Iron Fist are busy. Read Power Man and Iron Fist on sale now.
He does put like quotation marks around it. But yep, so he's like, "I'm too busy doing things, and you would know what I was doing if you bothered to buy my comic, so please buy my comic."
And we then get into like the best trope in all of X-Men, which is if people freaking explain what was going on from their perspective, there would be no conflict in this universe. Scott is just sitting here looking at Misty Knight going, how do I tell her the professor's dead, Hank's dead, Jean's dead? And from Misty Knight's perspective, because Jean didn't tell her that Scott was, since Jean didn't tell Misty that she thought Scott was dead, and Scott isn't telling Misty that
he thinks Jean is dead.
Misty can't just be like, "Oh yeah, no, you idiots, you are both alive. I saw Jean 8 hours ago."
And so Scott tries to call the Xavier Institute, but all of the numbers have been
canceled.
Xavier, not just moved out, but he closed down his entire AT&T account.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the AT&T operator says, "Oh well, Dr. Charles Xavier closed down these lines."
Yeah, specifically.
Which I don't think they would be privy to that, but at the same time, whatever. And
yeah.
Cyclops runs into Banshee and tells Banshee, "Hey, we can't get through." And Banshee says, "Colleen's looking for you. Says it's important."
I love Colleen's looking Colleen's looking for you. She didn't think to check the spot where you haven't moved. You physically haven't moved since the last time you saw her, and we see Colleen, we see Misty in the background of the shot. If she turned around, she would see Scott.
Well, but
the perception scores on these characters are not the best.
So, meanwhile, we have Mysterious Garbage Truck, who has something that they're going to use to attack Sunfire. And this is much like Weapon Alpha before, we get a whole lot of shots of the impending smackdown before we actually get to the payoff.
And then, Mike, who is this? Who is Logan? Logan is just wandering around the courtyard, not translating things for people. He's talking about how he should have stayed in the Savage Land, how that was a much better fit for him. And then he wanders in on a beautiful woman who, Mike, will she be significant in the future?
I don't think so. She just seems like this woman becomes extremely significant to Wolverine.
I say probably as we went over in our 7 things you might not have known about Wolverine last week, probably Wolverine's life can basically be summed up by before MARIKO and after MARIKO.
And he freaks her out because she didn't think anyone was going to be there.
Yeah.
And he tries to politely say, "Hey, don't mean you any harm. I thought it would be empty. He likes solitude. And he says he'll go away. And she's like, oh, you know what? You can stay. That's okay.
There's something interesting about you.
And by the way, Sunfire's my cousin. And you speak Japanese really well for an American. And Wolverine's like, I am not an American, man. I am a Canadian.
Tim Hortons, Maple Leaves, hockey.
We're going to get some maple syrup on this situation.
Mike, question for you before we go on. As we talked about a couple episodes ago, everybody in the Marvel Universe who can possibly be related is related. Isn't her other cousin the Silver Samurai?
Sure is.
Okay, I was like, for a second there, I was like, thinking, am I being incredibly racist here? So the national hero of Japan and the crime lord of Japan
are cousins. Yeah.
Yeah, or like cousins are cousins through her. So
the Yoshida/Yashida family, depending on which comic you open up, is a crime family that got to power through crime, except that Shiro himself is part of the reformed section of the family that's trying to not crime as much. Yeah. Whereas the Silver Samurai...
Let's crime more.
And what's also hilarious about this is that Mariko says to Wolverine that Shiro has spoken often of Wolverine with much respect.
Liar. He has never said that. He might have acknowledged... Oh, yeah, I can see him coming home from Giant Size X-Men #1. Yeah, there was a guy. His name was Badger or something. I think he was from Iowa.
He seemed like angry about everything and not as cool as me.
But I was angrier.
So Wolverine is struck by her beauty and then is about to tell her what his actual name is, which he never volunteered to the X-Men.
Yeah, that's true. If he had gone through with this, it would have been Leprechaun. The Leprechauns and her would have been the people who learned his name, through his agency.
And all of a sudden, at midnight exactly,
dun dun dun,
there is an earthquake.
And Wolverine spends the next couple pages looking awesome. There are trees coming down on them. He's hitting the trees. He's going, "Hey, babe, don't worry, you're with Wolverine."
He ends up carrying her out of there in order to save her.
And he runs directly into Colossus and Nightcrawler. Colossus Colossus and Banshee are carrying middle-aged men out. Wolverine is carrying out the most important woman in Japan in the Marvel Universe.
That's true at this point, I'm pretty sure. Although maybe Misty and Colleen are technically in Japan now.
And then they ask, "Hey, Storm, why didn't you mention this to us?" And Storm just wants to. In all fairness, this time she does point out that the earthquake is unnatural. But given the way she's been acting for the last few issues, acting just here being like, because I didn't want to tell you, you're not my real dad.
Although technically, an earthquake is not
weather. Yeah.
It's
tectonic plates grinding.
Yeah. And here's Colossus saying our favorite Colossus phrase, by the White Wolf.
It's a great phrase.
Yeah. You gotta make sure he's Russian still.
Das Vide. And then, Mandroids. Hey, Mike, what's a Mandroid?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Pete, because I also have no idea. No. Basically, these are the store brand Iron Man armor that S.H.I.E.L.D. made in order to be prison guards for superpowered villains.
Yes.
But various people have stolen the plans in order to use them nefariously.
It actually becomes such a problem that probably the second most famous Iron Man arc is 12 issues of Tony going around and taking armor from people who have stolen it, reverse engineered it, bought it, won it from him at drunken poker games. That last one might not be true.
But it might.
Yes.
Sunfire tells them that they are true sons of Nippon, even though Sunfire is the only Japanese person trying to fight at this point. He tells them that they're going to die, and they're like, I have another opinion on this matter.
With respect.
It's called laser blast to the face.
In all fairness, laser blasts to the face do solve most problems.
I mean, it's an effective tool.
Cyclops is like, okay, so they came here to stop Sunfire, but you know what? I got a whole pack of weirdos with me that they did not prepare for.
And his pack, in fact, Nightcrawler does something amazing that he does many times in the future here. But this is the first time that we've seen him pull it off. He gets in between two Mandroids and gets them both to aim at him.
Yes.
And he then teleports out of there so that stop hitting yourself, Mandroids.
Listen, is it a trope? Yes, but I am a simple man with simple pleasures.
Oh no, I love this. This is as good as a fastball special to me.
Oh yeah.
And we start to see Colossus again thinking to himself, I don't seem to do much good in these battles. I am feeling like I am more of a liability than a strength.
Does the world even need a super strong and vulnerable Russian artist?
I mean,
yeah.
So he tosses Colossus like 50 feet away, and Wolverine is thinking about going to get him. But Cyclops, because he always wants to tell Cyclops not to, Cyclops always wants to tell Wolverine, don't do the thing that you want to do. Says, ignore Colossus. We gotta stop the Mandroids first.
I do love that before the Mandroid smacks Colossus, the guy in the Mandroid suit is like, "Listen up, Tin Man." Really? Are the guy in the robot suit is going to judge the Steel Man?
The answer is yes.
Yeah, true. And then we get to see, then we just get some really cool Wolverine moments where he's playing up the adamantium claws. He is definitely not showing off for Mariko, who is presumably still in the vicinity.
Cyclops decides to pulse his optic beams.
Which is really cool.
Yep. And he's basically blinking in succession here.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has Banshee counter that with his Sonic Scream, which destroys the Mandroid's armor. I don't science enough to really understand this, but it seems to work.
I feel like it's just making. I feel like it's just going to, it might break the armor apart. It's definitely going to make that guy puke.
Yep.
I am bouncing around all over the place.
So the very last Mandroid is going to kill Sunfire, who is underneath some timbers and stuff. Mariko is coming to save him. Sunfire's like, go away, because if this guy is going to shoot me, I don't want him to shoot you too. And Mandroid's like, yeah, I don't care. I'll shoot as many people as I want to shoot.
That's it. So, I mean, if nothing else, we learned in this issue, there is Sunfire cares for actually literally one person on Earth.
His cousin.
Yep.
And Sunfire. He cares for himself quite a bit.
This is true.
But when Sunfire lights up the Mandroid and makes him super hot, we get another combo attack where Storm does freezing rain on him in order to make the armor super brittle and fall apart.
And at this point, after the last several issues of Storm not doing a whole lot, we are reminded of how freaking powerful she is.
She does two cool, different things other than flying and throwing lightning around in this issue. First, the fog, and now this rain out of nowhere in order to destroy the Mandroid with Sunfire's help.
Yep. She's like, okay, we're gonna freeze the armor, we're gonna superheat the armor, then we're gonna freeze the armor again. I do know enough about metal that probably would work.
Yeah, that sure would. Rapid heating and cooling. I love that the trash truck of doom that had the Mandroids inside of it is driving away because they're like, oh, that didn't work. And so it drives over the pothole that Colossus made when he got chucked out of the main combat. So Colossus reaches up.
And just rips the undercarriage off of the speeding trash truck.
I love the image of Colossus's arms coming out of this hole in the ground.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Yeah, he's not even up to. Yeah, they don't even poke up out to the elbows. You just see his hand, his hands, and like his forearms, and then Byrne is just great at the movement of the trash truck, still speeding away as it's being ripped apart.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And as we've discussed before, Byrne really wanted to play up Colossus's strength, whereas Claremont always wrote words to say maybe not that strong.
I'm pushing myself to my limit while, I'm clearly picking up a space shuttle.
So now the X-Men reconvene, and
honestly, Colossus is actually looking really cheerful here. I know he was talking about it. Maybe I feel useless. Now he's like, hey, maybe I am pretty useful.
Yep. And
way to go, Peter.
Cyclops gives his team great praise by saying, "You did good tonight. There's hope for the X-Men yet."
Mariko is wrapping her Sunfire's head in gauze. She's like, listen, it's only a scratch. Please do not make me look like a chump in front of the X-Men.
So now Moses Magnum, master of the Magnum Force, shows up to say, in 24 hours, if you don't make me the ruler of Japan, I will sink it.
And the next issue will be the night before Christmas.
So Moses Magnum is a guy that came into conflict with Spider-Man and the Punisher first and foremost, and then Power Man. He is basically a weapons manufacturer who is unethical and also from Ethiopia, which doesn't really matter too much, but it's there. So Moses Magnum, it's revealed in Classic X-Men, was contacted by Apocalypse before this issue and given mutant adjacent earthquake powers by Apocalypse.
Is that just to explain why he didn't have earthquake powers last time we saw him?
More or less, yeah. I mean, he did earthquake things, like he had earthquake equipment, but now he definitely has kind of earthquake powers. And Claremont patched up his own continuity by having Apocalypse show up to give those powers.
Very cool.
To him.
So, ladies and gents, that is issue 118 of the Uncanny X-Men. As always, that was Pete
And Mike.
and we are glad you survived the experience. We'll be back in 2 weeks with issue 119, and next week, everything you didn't know about Sean Cassidy, the Banshee.
One of my favorite X-Men, to be honest with you.
One of mine as well. I mean, he's pretty awesome.